Volkswagen has.
Harry's going to have to leave. Yes, Keith?
I'm not a journalist, so I'm just a member of a congregation that's interested, but rather than come from the perspective of faith, I'd like to go back to job creation. Tourism is a big industry for East Tennessee, major impact on us here. And I'm really interested in what people's stance is on mountaintop removal, and especially the Lieutenant Governor, about what effect that has on our tourism industry. And I've also heard that the mining industry said there's only like less than 400 jobs in the coal mining in the state of Tennessee. I don't know what the numbers are in tourism, but anyway, I'd just like to hear that.
Absolutely, because this is talking about energy production. We're talking about, in general, what our policy is as far as mining here in the state of Tennessee. And I think we have a very well-regulated system right now. Nobody's for the true mountaintop removal. We're not seeing that really in Tennessee. And it's something that's an emotional issue. There's no doubt about that. I try to match good science with what the facts are. And I know we had a bill up here a year or so ago on what is mountaintop removal. There's lots of debate on how you classify that and what you do. But I would encourage anyone who actually, the one side that's always called out in particular to tour that site and see what they're doing as far as reclaiming old strip mines. I mean, there's not a person in here that says we don't want the mountains of the state of Tennessee to be blown apart. But we try to match good science with what's going on, to make sure we have a dependable energy sources here in the state of Tennessee and the nation as a whole, and realize that we have well over 100 years, if not 200 years of coal in the ground, and we can get that out and get it out in a safe way if we regulate that, but don't over-regulate that. It is a fine line. I understand that. I have to walk that every day. Back when I was chairman of the Environment Committee as Lieutenant Governor, and I think that we are walking that fine line and doing a good job here in Tennessee. I do believe that.
Bill Dunn.
I'm the sponsor of that bill that deals with the mountaintop removals, and I've had a lot of conversations with individuals. Last year, the year before, we passed a bill that was a water buffer zone, which basically said when you do mining practices, etc., you got to stay so far away from the water source, which was good. And so we're kind of looking at the bill maybe as a ridge line buffer zone, just like we did with water. What if we say when you stay so far away from the ridge top, you can get coal in other areas? I look at energy sources a different way. You know, in the Old West, when they just had 6-shooter, if you got off the first shot, you were in pretty good shape. But if you used up your bullets before the other guy, you were doomed. And I would rather have other countries use up their energy sources before we do. I'd rather have the Middle East, you know, suck up the last oil before we do. So I think, see, with mountaintop removal, 2 things can happen. Number one, we preserve the mountains. And number 2, we actually preserve the coal that's there, so that if we don't come up with the technology that we're all expecting to replace coal, to replace oil and stuff, at least we're in the position that we still have an energy source close by. And I've told the individuals I'm working with to try to protect the mountains and regulate the mountaintop removal. You know, the day may come where, you know, we need that coal. And at that point, you know, it'll shift some. But for right now, let's preserve the mountains with the opportunity for tourism, and also preserve those coal seams, because we may need them when everybody else runs out of theirs.
Any last questions? Because we're going to, I think we probably need for folks to eat. Let me get you, since you haven't asked a question.
I was curious in terms of addition to the ETN on the BESCO Act, which has a lot of those supporting entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs across the state really excited. What else do you see that is sort of on the horizon for supporting high-growth, high-tech entrepreneurship across the state? In particular, what are some of your all's thoughts on the Tennessee Technology Development Corporation to other initiatives that are going on that you're aware of that can help lead the state into more of an export-focused business with creating these high-tech businesses that create jobs as well as bringing revenue from outside of Tennessee?
Who wants to?
You get 10 minutes, hold on.
Well, I mean, I really think the answer to your question is, as we consider any piece of legislation, we look at its impact upon business, whether it increases bureaucratic red tape, whether it encourages the development of business or discourages the development of business. And I mean, that applies to a lot of things, just like we're doing with spent 2 weeks on the educational system. That's one of the factors business looks at, especially high-tech business looks at. Do you have the support in your educational system for a well-trained workforce? We've been dealing with workers' compensation. One of the things Governor Bredesen did when he was first elected was bring some reform to our workers' comp law. That was important. Our tort laws, our judicial system is important to that. So, you know, it's just not really one area. It's your judicial system, it's your educational system, it's your road, your highway system. All play a role in having a favorable climate for businesses to want to come and locate there. You know, one of the things we've done is bring in some investment business in this state. One of the things is Tennessee, I think, is number 3 in the country in the location of trusts within this state. Well, those trusts invest in businesses. So it's really more than just one thing. But I do think our continuing to where Tennessee traditionally has not had runaway juries. That's important to businesses. I think that's why the Silica Claims Priority Act was very important. And I think if our predictions for Invesco play out the way we think it will, and we pay back the tax credits that were sold, and we have enough money to go into the Rural Development Fund, then it's just going to keep turning over and turning over for the recruitment of business.
All right. I'm sorry. Lunch is served, and I think we're starting to get a little bit loud here. I'll tell you what. First of all, let's thank our lawmakers for being here. I think what we'll do is we'll eat, and if you all will agree to it, perhaps after we eat, if you all want to stick around and if he has some individual questions, that would work. Otherwise, again, thanks to all of you for being here. You spent a lot of time with us, and we certainly appreciate it. And we look forward to the next session and what you all do next. Thank you.